Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Better Me Blossoming, where I am on a journey to lose 100 pounds. This is week 12, I believe. And I just weighed myself this morning, and as you can see, I lost just under 2 pounds, around 2 pounds there. So it is slowing down a little bit as it tends to do on keto. But in this video, I just wanted to show you an example of what I eat in a day.
For breakfast, I made 2 different types of sausage and some bacon. This isn't all for me, I shared with my son. And then I just made 2 eggs in the skillet. These yolks looked so delicious. They were just this bright gold color. I wanted to add a bit more greenery into my house, like natural greenery, so we just went outside and I snipped a little bit of the longer branches from my bushes outside. They needed to be trimmed anyway, so I went and did that. It was raining outside and kind of cold. We set them in a little bath of water just to make sure there weren't any bugs. When we came inside, I decided to make myself a cup of coffee to warm myself up, and I decided to make some homemade whipped cream. All you need is a little bit of extract, whatever flavor you want, and some heavy whipping cream, and just get your mixer out and just mix on high until it becomes stiff like whipped cream. It's so easy and it's so good. Then I brought the greenery inside and put it into a vase, and I just loved the way this looked, so natural and green, and just added a pop of color into my home. Doing spring activities like this brings me so much joy. I thought I would share a few ideas with you.
So if you're wanting to have a fun spring this year, some things that you can do, whether you live alone or have children, is go to a local botanical garden. See if there's one in your area or in a nearby town. It's just such a beautiful environment to be in, with all the birds and the flowers and the bumblebees, and just smelling that scent of flowers in the air will just bring like music to your soul. It's one of my favorite things to do during the spring. And also making some springtime crafts. A few ideas that I found on Pinterest were making a bird feeder out of a teacup. I think I'm gonna do that one this week. It'll probably be up in a like nearby future video. That was cute. Also, like making your own aprons and things like that, just beautiful springtime crafts. And I'm not really usually a crafty person, but like when it comes to just spring and flowers and things that make me happy, like I just love doing crafts during those times. And another thing is listening to like light classical music. That could get you into a springtime mood. I love to listen to classical music while I'm baking, and I have playlists for different times. If it's like a rainy day, a rainy springtime day, or a sunny springtime day, I love making playlists during the springtime. I like to also go to Trader Joe's. If you don't live in an area where you can like go and pick wildflowers and stuff or have a garden, like I wish I did, I just don't. Like flowers just don't want to grow in my yard for some reason. I'm trying to grow 2 hydrangea bushes in the front yard and they just do not want to bloom. I go to my local Trader Joe's. You can get so many beautiful bouquets for around $5.99 each. You could get like 1 bouquet, 2. Sometimes I pick up like 3 and just put them into different containers. I'll show you what I did with mine. Another thing you could do for springtime is to bake something, whether you're on keto or not. I made these keto like blueberry scones that had like a lemon glaze on top, very like springtime vibes, and they were so good. And I just love baking so much. And I'm just glad that there are so many delicious keto desserts that actually taste good, because if they didn't, I would be so sad. So another thing that I found this year, my sister actually told me about it, is an app. It's from Cornell University, I believe, and it's called the Merlin Bird ID app. And what you can do is when you hear a bird, you press the button and it records it, and it'll tell you what kind of bird you're hearing. I loved this when we went to the beach. I used it, like I could not stay off of it. And there are so many birds that live in the trees behind my house, and like sometimes I can see them, but sometimes I can't, and sometimes I just hear them. And so I'm gonna definitely be using this app this spring to see how many different species of birds live in those trees back there. And maybe I'll use it when I have my teacup bird feeder out there too. So moving on to springtime books that I love to read, of course, like the queen of springtime, Jane Austen, like that is just my favorite author of all time. I love period pieces, like films, books, you name it, I love it. I love her writing. My favorite ones to read during the springtime are Emma and Sense and Sensibility. They just are, they're set, a lot of it is set during the springtime. Like there's a few like Christmas scenes and things sprinkled throughout, but they just like scream spring. And I love reading those or listening to the audiobooks during the springtime. An audiobook that I just listened to that I absolutely love is based off of Beatrix Potter, who wrote Peter Rabbit. She lived in England in the Victorian or Edwardian era, and I love anything to do with England and history. And I love Beatrix Potter. And it was called The Tale of Hilltop Farm by Susan Whiting Albert. I wrote it down so I would remember. And I didn't think that I would like it, but I loved it. I was sad when it was over. I'm out of credits on Audible, and I'm waiting until the 1st of May so I can just buy the next book in this series. It was so good. It's like it's set in the English Lakeside district, which is out in the country. So beautiful, and it's got animals in it that talk, and it sounds weird. It's a mystery, like a murder mystery, and it was just so cozy, and I just loved it. Like just hearing about the English countryside, I loved that book. I'll probably be listening to it again next year. And then lastly for books is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I hope I said that right. It's a classic book, I know you've heard of it. It's just one of those books that never gets old. I've read it like 3 times, and I love to read it, especially during the springtime, or listen to it on audiobook. Now we're gonna move on to spring shows that I love watching. Firstly is one that I just started watching, but I'm obsessed with it. It's so visually stunning, and that is All Creatures Great and Small. This is also set in the English countryside, and it's just such a wholesome show. I just love it so much. And yeah, I'm gonna keep watching it. I've only watched like the first 4 episodes, but I just love it. And then next is Bridgerton. If you haven't seen this, like, what are you doing? I love this show so much. I understand that it's a little bit too spicy, like for some people. And sometimes for me even, but I just love the setting, the costumes, the music. It is just so beautiful and perfect, the perfect show to watch during the spring. And lastly for shows is a show, my favorite show like of all time is called Escape to Chateau. It's on the Peacock app, I believe. If you have that, just watch it. It's about this couple that bought this rundown chateau in rural France. They have 2 children. They are just the sweetest family, and the whole show is about them renovating this beautiful castle. And there's gardening, and just the decor is so pretty, and the family is just so sweet. I just love this show so much. So if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It is my all-time favorite. Next are springtime movies that I love, starting with, of course, The Secret Garden. I love the one from the 90s. I haven't seen the new one, but the 90s just has a place in my heart. This movie is just so visually gorgeous, the gardens, the outfits, and it might make you cry, but it is just such a good movie. And then next is Pride and Prejudice, the one that came out in 2005, I believe, with Keira Knightley. I really love that movie. It's not particularly like a springtime movie, but that's just the time of year that I love to watch this particular movie. And the new live action Cinderella movie starring Lily James, I think it came out in 2015. That movie is so gorgeous. The bright colors and the costumes and just the animals just remind me of springtime. In another movie, I mentioned Beatrix Potter before with the Tale of Hilltop Farm, and a movie that I love to watch during the springtime is called Miss Potter. It stars Renee Zellweger and Ewan McGregor, and it's also set in England, where she lived, and it is just such a sweet movie. It's about her getting her start as an author, and it shows her drawing these animals, and it's just such a fun movie to watch. Now let's see what I made on this day for dinner.
Next, I got started on the tomato sauce that's going to be added to the casserole for dinner. I make my own. What I did was pour a bunch of cherry tomatoes, like a big container, into the crock pot, added some Italian seasoning, some chopped onions, and a bunch of mixed garlic. And I forgot to film on here, but I also added a lot of salt and then some olive oil. And then I just put the lid on that, and I cooked it on low for around 6 hours. We'll come back to this later and see how it turned out. For lunch, I just had some leftover ribs that I smoked myself, actually. They were so good, and I just had a side of pickles with it. I went to Trader Joe's to pick up a couple bouquets of flowers, and they had these gorgeous Spanish lavender plants, so I had to pick one up. And then for my floral arrangements, I got out this beautiful container that I purchased at a thrift store, and I'm going to use it as like a flower vase, just to see what it would look like. I picked it up for $7. It was such a good deal. Once I added the flowers, I was completely obsessed. I love the way that this looks. Maybe next time I'll blend the flowers more together, but I just love this. I'm going to keep on using this container over and over again. It's now the evening, and as you can see, the tomatoes have cooked perfectly. You usually want to use like an emulsion blender. I could not find mine, so I ended up using my potato masher. It ended up working okay. It wasn't as blended as I would have liked, but this worked fine. I added some chicken and some frozen meatballs that I had. I had a few like lower carb ones and I put those into a corner for me, and then the rest was for my family. I topped it off with that tomato sauce, some fresh mozzarella, and some Parmesan cheese, and I popped it into the oven for 400 degrees for about 30 minutes, and it was just so delicious.
So that's everything for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you'd like to see more videos like this or track my progress in my weight loss journey, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.